What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Explain It to Me. I'm excited. I've been looking at this for a week, honestly. Another episode all about Godzilla. So we all watched Godzilla versus Kong. That's what we're going to be focused on today. Let's just go around real quick. Well, before I say anything, I'm pissed at our mods because they're being rude in the chat and they're being mean to Biggs. So if anyone here feels like disrespecting the mods, you get a pass as far as I'm concerned.
Go for it. We get it. It's April Fool's Day.
Mm-hmm. So let's just start. I want to start with Mark. What did you think of Godzilla versus Kong?
That's a big question, Alex. That's a very big question. Overall, I liked it, but I know that I shouldn't.
Interesting.
We can unpack that if you want, or we can wait.
We'll unpack it in a minute. But as a Star Wars fan, I get it, because there are definitely some stories that have come up where I'm like, I don't know that I would like this if it weren't Star Wars. But I see what you're saying. Ashton, what did you think? You watched it yesterday.
Yeah, I thought it was good. I mean, I enjoyed it. I felt like one of my critiques of the previous of Skull Island and Godzilla King of Monsters was that I felt like they almost spent too much time on the humans and what they were doing and not enough time on the titular character of each movie. And this one, they definitely didn't do that, so that wasn't a problem. And I thought it was entertaining. I had a good time watching it. So
I still kind of got that I feel like they should be fighting more, Godzilla and Kong. They only have the two. And I still felt that kind of they're spending a lot of time with the humans, but they also did a good job of connecting, I think, the human stories with the monsters. But Molly and I watched it a couple hours ago. Molly, what did you think?
I liked it. I feel like I need to go back and watch Kong Skull Island to really appreciate this version of Kong. Because this felt like a Kong sequel, and Godzilla just happened to be there in it for me. Which, I mean, it was interesting. I liked the connection that the little girl had with King Kong, and the fact that we learned that he kind of knows sign language. But then it was he has this new home, and we're supposed to be happy for him, but it's in the middle of the earth, and he's all alone.
I guess we should say, warning, there will be spoilers here.
Oh, yeah.
I think if people are here, they know that, I assume. Yeah.
But I was
I guess there's other monsters there, besides just him.
Yeah, but are they going to be friends, or is he just going to spend all his time killing? Which maybe he would love that.
Spend his time ripping heads off and drinking out of them, which was A++.
Yeah.
Monster movie gore. I liked it.
Well, there are also people there, because there's people there that were monitoring him and stuff.
That's true. He does still have his friends. He is friendly with those humans.
Yeah.
People are going on the Universal ride down into the center of the earth and visiting him every once in a while.
Yeah. Thanks to Godzilla for creating an easier way down.
Right.
Yeah.
I was kind of wondering
Antarctica anymore.
Yeah. So an elevator that goes down there, or now we don't have to go through that weird ass portal. It's just. Yeah. I have questions about that. We can save that for later. I also liked it. Of all of the legendary movies, I think I'd still go Kong, King of the Monsters. Then I'd probably put this one in there. I don't really remember much about the first Godzilla movie, but I like Kong a lot. And I was still at the end of the day, I'm still Team Kong. Did anyone's opinion change after this movie? Because I think I was the only Team Kong last week. Does anyone, Molly, did we win you over?
I guess you did, because like I said, this was very Kong centric, and all the emotion was tied to the relationship between him and the humans. That's where all the emotion was in this movie. So I guess I'm Team Kong now until Godzilla wins me over in the next movie. I don't know.
Mark,
I was
how
pretty
do you feel about that?
Well, I mean, I could tell what the movie wanted me to think. Kong is getting just his ass kicked and the music is sad and the characters are sad, but I am just laughing it up because that's exactly how it should have gone.
I guess that's like, yeah, you were basically saying that Kong would get his ass beat, and he did. But
yeah, which was surprising because I thought they would do like the oh well, it's like kind of a draw where you could interpret either one as having won. Or like, Godzilla would win one fight and then Kong would win the other. They do some sort of like cheat like that.
And
the director
kind of did that.
Well, yeah, there's that guy who's like, looks like Kong wins round 2, but then Kong gets his ass kicked like 10 seconds later.
Immediately after.
He had like 5 seconds of winning, and they're like, Kong wins round 2.
Yeah.
Just really get that into the wire.
In here. And Godzilla was like, I didn't hear no bell.
Yeah.
Well, Alex, we were talking about this idea, this reoccurring theme in science fiction that like enemies have to find a common ground, and
Yeah.
Godzilla and Kong were like, okay, we got to take care of Mechagodzilla, which
Our
I
common
think
ground is kicking something else's ass.
yes, I think
That's
there
how we
wasn't
reconcile.
enough Mechagodzilla. I feel like he got not enough screen time because I thought that was cool and I wanted to see more of him, but either way, yeah, they had to like work together to defeat him, and like then they just kind of like give each other a nod. Like,
I was
okay,
really hoping for like a fist bump after they something.
Yeah. I mean, Godzilla did get his moment of like, I am clearly the winner here in this fight, when he just like stood on Kong for a second, basically, and yelled at him a lot.
That was
yeah,
great. I did love
there's a lot
that.
of yelling in each other's faces. It's a lot of testosterone going on.
It was like, I win, and Godzilla's like, I know. Kong's like, I know.
So, Mark, let's get into a little bit of lore here.
Yeah.
This whole Hollow Earth thing. Is this new? I feel like you said this was kind of new to the Legendary
this
universe.
is new. And I hate the way it's implemented, if I can throw my opinion in here.
Please do.
So prior to... this is a Hollow Earth problem, but it's also indicative of the entire series, what's wrong with it. And that, with Marvel and kind of sort of Star Wars, like, you watch all the movies and you get something else from that. Like, if you've seen all the Marvel stuff, your appreciation for the new stuff is going to be increased because you catch all these references. With Godzilla, like, the more you see, the more confused you are because nothing lines up.
I agree.
So you see, like, Skull Island, and it's like, okay, there's a Hollow Earth. It's like, I don't know what that is, but it's like caverns under the ground full of monsters. And I guess that, like, one of the places where it, like, kind of erupts to the surface is Skull Island. Because there's those, like, skull crawler things that come up from the ground, and Kong has to fight them off. And in this one, they're like, no, Skull Island's just, don't worry about it. The real entrance is somewhere else.
That's so true.
Yeah, I was thinking that when I was watching the movie. I was like, why didn't they just go down the big hole that the big one from Skull Island came out of?
Exactly. That was the different Hollow Earth. That's
They
like
literally said it's where Hollow Earth like erupts to the surface. So
That's
why
yeah,
would
they
Skull
say that
Island
in the movie.
support all these monsters.
So I kept trying to reconcile how all these things worked, like, in my head prior to seeing this movie. And then the movie comes out and it's like, oh, this is way worse.
Well, the big thing that was confusing to me was that Nathan Lind, Alexander Skarsgård's character, was like this disgraced scientist who, like, nobody believes me. And I was like, did they not just prove Hollow Earth in the previous film?
Yeah, they've known about it since the 70s.
Yeah, we watched it last week, and they go to Hollow Earth. Like, not exactly that place, but I'm like, there was a whole moment where that one, I can't remember the actor's name, Bradley something Whitford. He's like, I was right. Hollow Earth is real. And then
every movie someone has to say, I was right. Hollow Earth was real after all. They do it in the 70s. They do it in the 2000s. They do it again in the 2000s. It's weird. And there's like a million examples like that where in Kong Skull Island, you have those native islanders who help out John C. Reilly.
Mm-hmm.
And in this one, they're all just wiped out in a throwaway line of dialogue. Yeah, Hurricane got him.
Oh, no. I felt bad about that.
Oh, the
So, like-
natives on Skull Island. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, Deaf Girl was the only survivor, apparently, which is sad, but it's like, yeah, who cares? They died off screen.
Which
Yeah,
by the way,
I've even talked about it.
I've been trying to get Molly to watch Skull Island for a while because she loves John C. Reilly, and he's the best part of that movie. I love him.
Yeah, no, that movie's okay, this leads into something else. I'm going to get us a little off track here, but
that's fine.
I loved, Godzilla versus Kong, but I know I shouldn't because it's the same thing every time. There's been 36 of these movies, I think, and for 35 of them, you got to go, oh yeah, well, like anytime a human was talking, it was stupid and lame and made no sense. But when the monsters were fighting, that was the good part. And then every single time the director will come out and say, yeah, I really feel like it's important that it's not just about the monsters, that we need to identify with these human characters and give them motivations that pull in and engage the audience. And then every time they screw it up.
I liked Bernie.
I was very questionable of what's his name, Skarsgård's brother's story, where they were like, oh yeah, he tried to go to Hollow Earth and he died because of the gravitational inversion. And I was just like, no. I've been on Deja Vu at Six Flags Over Georgia. All that happens is all your change falls out of your pocket. You don't explode.
but all the gravity just hit him all at once. Is that right? And then he was just crushed. I guess.
But like the way Hollow Earth is set up,
was he going down there in like an old timey plane?
Just like a biplane, like in Independence Day.
Yeah, the crop duster.
He was in the boat from Skull Island, like just plummeting down that hole.
They just had to get a sturdier vehicle to go down there.
That's literally it. They're like, we have our anti-gravity helicopter, the Heave. What a great name for it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But okay, so this Nathan Lind person, his family hasn't been in any of these movies, right? Because I don't know
character names. Which one was Nathan Lind?
The scientist, the disgraced scientist, the Hollow guy.
I think he's new.
Well, they made like this big deal out of like, I'm sorry about what happened to your brother, and I was like, oh, is his brother in one of the last movies? I don't remember that. And like he's looking at a picture and stuff, and I'm like, who's his brother? Why do we care?
He needed that motivation to like prove that he was right. One, I don't know. Not avenge his brother, but like make his brother proud by actually getting in there. So I can see why they introduced that little.
And while we're on like heritage and family, Mono brought up something that I have a question about. So that's Ken Watanabe's character's son, right?
That's what I assume. He was Serizawa, Ren Serizawa, I think they called him. But I don't remember any sort of like solid link where he was like, by the way, my dad was the guy who did whatever.
Yeah, like who even known who that was except for the super villainous guy at one point was like, Serizawa, get in the chair or something.
Right.
Like.
Yeah, it felt like character assassination. It was like this movie's version of the previous movie's use of the oxygen destroyer, where it's like we're just going to throw in something people know, but not follow it to its logical conclusion. Or it was I don't like.
It seemed like a betrayal of who Serizawa was in the past two movies.
Yeah, exactly.
Which I felt like if you're going to make that character a Serizawa, like you need a reason for, like, even if it said like, that bastard killed my father, if he had some misunderstanding of how his father died, I don't know.
Yeah, as far as I remember, there was no link whatsoever beyond the name drop. But I could have missed something. It's possible. But yeah, that's the problem with this movie. Like I hate having to judge Godzilla movies on like a separate scale, where it's like, yeah, it's a good Godzilla movie, but it's like a terrible actual movie. And like,
I think that's the thing about.
You have to do that with a lot of franchises.
Exactly.
Star Wars, Jurassic Park, especially we just watched all the Jurassic Park movies, and it's like, okay, this is just a bunch of dinosaur fun. Like this series is all about dinosaurs.
Well, the first one's not. The first one, like, I think, is a
legitimately good movie.
Yeah. But yeah. So I guess have to kind of think about the franchise, and then.
So similarly with Godzilla, we have the 90s Godzilla, where it was a legitimately good movie, and then all the other ones
just pale in comparison.
Yeah. You have no idea how angry I am, but I'm going to keep my composure for the sake of the stream here.
Well, Mark, like that's what you can't choose who or what you fall in love with, and you have to accept them faults and all. Like that's what fandom is.
Yeah, so apparently.
Well, and I do feel like basically all the parts with the actual monsters were like good.
Yeah, I mean, it did. Like I I feel like I'm kind of down on this movie, but I couldn't deny that when I was watching it, like I was having a great time whenever the monsters were fighting each other. But then it would cut back to Millie Bobby Brown, and I hated her character the most. But all the humans are terrible. But whenever she was on, I was just like, yeah, go back to the monsters. This is awful.
Okay, Mark, who was your favorite human character in this movie?
Oh God, I mean, I hated them all a lot. I don't have an answer. I hated everybody.
You didn't like Bernie? I liked Bernie.
No,
the little girl.
No, I didn't like anybody.
I like
He's
Bernie.
just like, you're not Godzilla. Get off my screen.
They were all like
show.
varying levels of obnoxious. Bernie was I don't know their names. I only know the monsters' names. Bernie was the podcasting conspiracy theorist, right? Yeah. I've seen that like stock character like so many times in disaster movies. He's the only one who knows the truth. But he was playing it up so comedically. I don't know. It felt like a bit of a disconnect there.
I liked that he was using that persona to like get jobs done. Like he's like, here's this hand sanitizer I made, and like basically annoying that person into leaving. I was also
annoyed watching it. I did think it was
but that's the point, Mark.
Yeah, okay. But yeah,
he reminded me of Bernie's character. Reminded me of like the kooky scientist guy from the Independence Day movies, and I hope that he gets even more important in the next movie.
I guess his podcast reminded me of Dr. Ray D'Angelo Harris from Grand Theft Auto, from the radio in Grand Theft Auto. Like it's like the same delivery of the lines and stuff, and that has cracked me up for forever. So I enjoyed that part.
I think one reason the characters didn't land for me, and this is another problem that goes through the entire movie, is that stuff happens very fast. Dialogue goes by quickly. People react to it quickly. There's no sense of like just letting a moment kind of sit and land for a bit. And there's no suspense. Like, okay, I'm going to jump right to the climax, if you'll forgive me, because I think it's a really good point, indicative of the point I'm trying to make. So Godzilla and Kong are getting the shit beat out of them. Mechagodzilla is invincible. And Godzilla powers up Kong's axe, which then delivers the killing blow, right? So Godzilla does that, and then Kong does it in about 15 seconds. Whereas in the first Godzilla movie, you'd have that like big buildup where like the glow starts and the characters all look to what's happening, and then he shoots the fire. Like there was suspense to it, and the payoff felt way better. And in this, every moment is kind of ruined by just how fast it all goes.
I agree. It was very like I definitely at one point had the thought of near the beginning. I was like, this is almost like a Rise of Skywalker pace of just like we're really moving fast.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And there was a lot of stuff they didn't really talk about. Like they never explained like, okay, well, why is Godzilla like glowing like all the time now at the beginning of the movie? Like he was just
super angry.
I guess
that's the secret.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, there was cool moments too that I felt like if they just taken some time to build on it just a little bit, it could have made it a lot better. Like when Godzilla first shows up to the convoy in the ocean, and like they're firing stuff at him in the distance, and he's getting closer and closer, and then he's like towing that the Jaws barrel behind him, except this time it's like a destroyer. Like that would have been cool if they just let it breathe. I would have been way into it. But
like if they lost him, but then you see the boat come back later, and
or just something like. There's moments where, like, you know, Kong is looking in the water. It's like, oh, where's Godzilla? 5 seconds of that would have paid off better than the half second you get.
Yeah, I did enjoy the little girl, like feeling Godzilla coming, like putting her hand on the boat and being like, oh, like I thought that was pretty well done.
Yeah. I think that the movie just was a little too like Mark was saying, if they had just slowed it down a little bit, maybe made the movie about 30 minutes longer. Because like I remember specifically around the time that they first showed Mechagodzilla, I had to pause the movie for a second for some reason. And I remember looking at how much time was left. And I was like, really? There's only that much time left in this movie? And they just now introduced Mechagodzilla? Is he going to be like in the sequel and they don't really deal with him? Like what's going to happen? Because there's not that much time left.
Yeah, so. I did think that was introduced very quickly. And then, yeah, that it was done. What did you, Mark, what did you think of the skull of what was it that was powering
King Ghidorah?
Yeah, what did you think about that?
I mean, the problem with me criticizing this movie is everything I hate has been done in another Godzilla movie, including that bit. So
Okay,
they've nailed the tone. So in Godzilla X Mechagodzilla, which was one from the 2000s, they build Mechagodzilla over the bones of the original Godzilla. And when that Mechagodzilla's bones hear the roar of the new Godzilla, the bones have a spiritual memory, which causes Mechagodzilla to go berserk. And I was astonished that they copied basically that same through line here. It's like, oh yeah, King Ghidorah's brain is hooked into the thing. He's in drift with that pilot, because that's how Jaegers work.
Yeah.
And then Ren Serizawa dies with no fanfare or
just electrocuted.
Yeah. And then now King Ghidorah is piloting Mechagodzilla. I kind of love that. Yeah, it's stupid. It's so stupid, but I kind of like it.
I thought it was hilariously rushed how quickly both of the most like hateable characters got dealt with.
Yeah.
like at one point Kong's just like crush.
Yeah.
the ship.
I did like that. I don't know. Something about that still felt like, ooh, and violent.
Yeah, I liked that. I thought it was like, wow, okay, they dealt with that surprisingly quickly.
I had to like audibly say something when that happened, because I was like, okay, so Kong knows good people from bad people. You just got to take a good close look at them. And it's like, oh yeah, you're the one that is bad and tried to steal whatever it is that they tried to steal. And
he did see them all point guns at the girl that he actually talks to. So
I think he was maybe just checking to make sure that the little girl wasn't in there, and he's like, I'm good, crush.
Yeah.
Well, because how good is Kong's eyesight is what I'm wondering.
I assume
apparently
it'll be
very good,
comparable to a human.
I guess, but you know, whenever the girl walks out, Kong notices her in about a couple seconds.
Well, they mention her smell, or like his sense of smell a few times.
Really? Oh, maybe I missed that, because I was like, how does he know that she's there?
Oh yeah, because Dr. Lin says like, oh God, I can smell him from in here, and she says he can smell you from even further.
Oh yeah,
she delivered that as kind of like a throwaway line. Like,
Mark, did you even watch this movie?
I think I did. I was drinking a lot during it.
I mean, the vision thing is a good point though, because in Skull Island, he totally didn't notice the dude standing at the edge of the lake when he like attacked the squid. And that guy was just like standing there and then running through the water, and he didn't even notice him.
Maybe he was like covered in squid smell, like Predator, kind of.
Yeah,
so
could be.
Okay.
He was too hungry at the time,
I guess. Yeah. There's a clear winner in that battle as well.
Okay. I'm just real quick, because this is a question that I can't imagine has a long answer.
Yeah.
Has Skull Island always been that close to Hawaii? Like, they showed it in the map during the opening credits, and I was like, that's basically just, it might as well be part of America. I assumed it was in the middle of the Pacific, lost somewhere, but it was like a little south of Hawaii. That's it.
I mean, again, this is where, like, if you've watched the previous movies, this is something that makes no sense. Because Skull Island is supposed to be some faraway place in the South Pacific. I thought it would be near, I mean, I'll throw out some names that mean nothing to anybody, like the Bismarck Sea near Guadalcanal, because that's where like World War II is happening. So it would have made sense that John C. Reilly crashes around there. Mm-hmm. And like, so I figured it was like somewhere out of the way, but then World War II starts up, and all of a sudden you get all these ships going back and forth, and someone finds it. But no, apparently it's right next to Hawaii. And,
right.
Yeah. I mean, I think maybe the people who made the credits weren't in sync with the folks who made the movie.
Probably not. I mean,
no.
Yeah. Also, I wrote down, because I wanted to, I wrote down the like numbers that it gives for like the height and weight and things for Kong and for Godzilla at the beginning of the movie.
Oh.
Like, I paused it and wrote them down because I was like, okay.
I'm impressed.
And Kong is like 1/1000th of the weight of Godzilla in those numbers. He's like so much smaller. He's like half the height, but like 1/1000th of the weight for whatever reason.
So
and I'm assuming that's
wrong.
like his stats from Skull Island era, like the last time that, but they've been studying him, so it's like, why are they using the stats from Skull Island time? Because he's not half the height of Godzilla either when they finally do fight. So
I might have an answer to this.
This feels like a good time to just talk about scale in general, because I know you said that annoyed you. But yeah, go for it.
Yeah, so I think I said last time that I have like a checklist that I want my Godzilla movies to like hit these things and avoid these things. And one of the things I want these movies to avoid is monsters standing on buildings, ships, or man-made objects, because it makes the monsters feel smaller and have less mass to them, I guess.
That's
if they
exactly
can
what
hop
I
around
wrote
on
down.
boats.
Because I was like, was the aircraft carrier, it felt like it made them both smaller, and I was wondering if they just shrunk them down so that worked.
When
Actually,
when I
in the stats, Kong was a fourth of the height of Godzilla.
Oh my god.
Really?
Yeah, he was 104 feet tall according to the thing, and Godzilla was 393 feet tall.
That's crazy. That must be from the Skull Island era, because he's definitely taller than that.
Yeah,
but no, like the aircraft carrier stuff, they released that was the first big piece of art they released, and I was just like, oh no, don't do that, don't do that. Yeah, I think the scale actually works out. Aircraft carriers are bigger than I thought, but you can't just like jump on one and not go through it. Like, it's meant to hold aircraft, which are notoriously not that heavy.
Yeah.
So,
like if you put another aircraft carrier on top of an aircraft carrier, it's going to have some problems.
yeah. Also, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Oh, I mean, that scene was awesome, just in how badass it made Godzilla. He's like plowing through those ships left and right. Nothing can stop him. Meanwhile, Kong can't break that chain. What a loser.
That's what Goddard said.
Oh, Ben Goddard. Yeah, we're on the same page. Also,
Yeah.
you know what was like completely unrealistic about that scene? They feature an Iowa.
Hold on now. Hold on.
Oh,
Kong
okay,
was sedated. Kong was 85% sedated.
I thought by then it had kind of worn off.
No, like you could see it on the back of his neck.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
They were like, don't sedate him so much that he can't do his job when we get to Antarctica.
But that was like days previous, wasn't it?
Well, no, because they still had him chained up and they were keeping him sedated and stuff so that he wouldn't try to break out and like wreck the ship.
Okay,
So he was fighting Godzilla like at a disadvantage.
Like a million of them. He's
Don't
also
shake your
in the
head
middle
at
of
me,
the ocean.
Molly. You're
I feel
King
like-
Kong now. You have to be on my side.
Being in the middle of the
King
ocean is a
Kong's-
pretty big disadvantage.
Imagine King Kong's amount, like if his adrenaline kicks in, I don't think any amount of whatever sedative they have him on is going to matter.
Molly's right.
Kong was half asleep and in the middle of the ocean when he fought Godzilla the first time.
What a bad plan.
He would have
by the way,
won.
right?
He would have won other way.
He also has a history of not being able to break chains for some reason.
Yeah.
Same thing
That's
as
his
Skull
kryptonite.
Island. Yeah.
The whole fight scene made me mad because I was like, Godzilla obviously has the upper hand in this. He's in the water. He can swim. Kong is just like flailing around trying not to drown the whole time.
Oh, Molly, you asked a good question. Can Godzilla breathe underwater, or does he have to like come up and take breaths?
Traditionally, Godzilla can breathe. Like, Godzilla doesn't breathe in the Japanese incarnation.
Oh.
But in this one, they've designed him to have gills. And I don't know how gills work. So I assume that he can breathe underwater, but he does breathe in this one.
Okay, so he doesn't breathe, but an oxygen destroyer will kill him?
Yeah, because it neutralizes like everything. It's not...
Because it's like in his cells and stuff. I
Yeah,
guess.
yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I assume he can breathe in water because every time we see him going away, he's going away in the water.
Mm-hmm.
I just figured he could hold his breath for a really long time.
Yeah,
I mean,
figured
it
was
could
like
be
a
that.
Galapagos, like a iguana.
Yeah, but I think he can breathe underwater because in the first Godzilla movie, like they've been hunting him for, however many years at that point, and they've only barely seen him. So I feel like he's just been, camping out in the Mariana
I'm
Trench
not a
or something.
scientist, Floof.
Yeah, gills do something to convert the oxygen in the water to something they can breathe, I think.
Right.
Yeah, it's like an organic USB converter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, what did you guys think of Kong's morning routine? He gets
Molly
up.
was very excited about it. Like
He gets up. He scratches his butt. He takes a shower, just like everybody else. I loved it.
Yeah, again, it was one of those things I wish had lasted longer.
Yeah.
And then he gets
And the
angry and
music
throws a
behind
spear
it.
at the dome.
Yeah.
Oh,
Kind of reminded me of
This
Shrek.
weird
actually.
Truman Show world.
Yeah.
yeah. I thought that was kind of a cool reveal though, to be like,
Mhm.
oh yeah, we're back on Skull Island, and then you're like, oh no, yeah, they put him in a containment thing, just like they did with all of the other kaiju. Like that made sense.
But did they need it for that? Because they built that on Skull Island, right? Like they enclosed a part of Skull Island. Is what
No, I don't think so.
Really?
Yeah, I think it
Well,
said
now I'm
Skull
not sure.
Island.
Did it? I thought
it was like Skull Island Containment Zone was the first thing that popped up.
Yeah, I think so.
Certain. But why did they need that? Because he's not swimming
why not
anywhere.
Just let him be there?
He was there for hundreds
of
years.
Giant storm there or something still? Like,
well, they said they were trying to protect him from Godzilla. Like,
except Godzilla's been around for a very long time. So,
right. But where has he been? Now. Yeah, why is it is a weird thing that all of a sudden they're like, no, we have to protect him from Godzilla.
See, if they were thinking about it more, what they could have done is have something about Ghidorah in Godzilla King of Monsters, like remove the storm around Skull Island when he was like going around being a hurricane or whatever.
Oh, that would have made sense. Yeah.
Then it would have set up for like, oh, now Godzilla can get to Kong, so we have to do something about that.
Well, they did say something about like the storm that wiped out the Iwi people. So maybe that kind of happened. Maybe we can just headcanon that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I forgot one other thing. Part of that mass and scale and weight thing. The helicopters lifting up Kong was ridiculous. And I think that's maybe why they reduced his weight in those stats. Although the weight they do give does seem way too low for that. Anyways, yeah, that was dumb. Why not just do that first, by the way?
Yeah.
No, we got to take him through water.
Aircraft carriers are expensive, and they lost 2 of them.
Now, were those military or Monarch?
They'd have to be the U.S. Navy. Unless Monarch, like, I still don't quite understand what Monarch is. Like, in this one, they're just, like, handling evacuations. But it's like they're in charge of everything related to, like, monsters now. Not just the studying monsters, but, like, the helping people from monsters. I guess it doesn't seem to make a lot of sense to me.
Yeah. Also, didn't they just get, like, massively messed up and, like, an eco-terrorist who we're not going to talk about in this movie for some reason, like, stole a bunch of stuff?
Yeah, he's still alive, isn't he?
Yeah. I guess he sold that thing to Apex and just went off to some beach somewhere.
Yeah.
So I was looking on IMDb and I was just like scrolling to see, you know, how they sometimes will list the goofs or like the mess ups. And there's only one, and I think you will appreciate it, Mark. It says, on closer inspection, the warships with the battleship styled
I know this one. Yeah.
Have the distinct superstructure of the Arleigh Burke class guided missile destroyer, while the hull heavily resembles the far more older Iowa class battleship, all of which were decommissioned throughout the 90s.
Mark, did you write that?
I mentioned it to my roommates. I was like, oh, the Iowa's in this? That's like not realistic.
Yeah.
I guess maybe they were Monarch ships. Like maybe they bought decommissioned military stuff and then refitted it.
But everything else was modern. So how do you explain that, smart guy? And also in the first movie, the aircraft carrier is the USS Saratoga, which was like CVN 89 or 88 or something, which doesn't exist in the real world. So even before Godzilla showed up, we were already in an alternate history. So there's that.
I also just...
No one cares. That's fine.
While we're on the subject of the ships and stuff, I love the seemingly unlimited amount of weaponry. It's just like we're gonna shoot every rocket and bullet and just everything we got at Godzilla, and then we have depth. What were they? What did she call them?
Depth charges.
Depth charges. Sure, why not? Just
I like the thing. And those ships would have those. Those are destroyers. They're
Sub-Zeros, submarines.
I like that they had to be convinced to shut their bullets and guns down and whatnot. And the guy was like, if we do that, we're dead. I was like, you weren't doing anything already. Why do you think you have to have your guns on? Like, why do they even think that's going to work at this point? They know it won't.
They're lucky Godzilla was paying attention because he stops really quick.
Yeah.
Like, again, everything happens so fast where it's like they shut off the keys and then immediately Godzilla's like, oh, okay, great, bye.
Yeah.
Okay, I got it.
I didn't get that party at all. I was just like, oh, they just turned everything off and Godzilla thinks he won? And he's like, okay, see you next time, bye.
And I do know that it takes like super tankers and whatnot, like miles to stop. Like they can turn off the engines, but they're still going for a long while. And I assume the same is true with aircraft carriers. So another goof for the website.
Confused if it was Monarch or Apex who were moving Kong.
That was Apex.
It was Monarch, but I think Monarch was working with Apex.
Oh yeah, you're right, because the Rebecca Hall character was Monarch, but Apex was funding it or just asking them to do it, I guess.
They're like, we sent one of our people to be condescending about our new heaves
Right.
and tell you how great they are. And again, everything happens like super fast. So,
and even the heaves had like a bunch of rockets and missiles on it.
Yeah, how is that allowed? It's like Microsoft just buying like gunship helicopters and flying them around, and everyone's cool with it.
I just hope that after this, the what happened in this movie, that Dr. Lin's books, his book sales just skyrocket.
Yeah, he has a bunch of boxes full of them. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He can be like, I was right.
Godzilla proved it. He bored a hole down to the earth, the center of the earth. Okay,
oh my God.
Let's talk about Hollow Earth, because the first time we go to it, it seemed like you had to go through a 2001 A Space Odyssey style trippy portal to reach Hollow Earth, the center of the earth or whatever.
Yeah, they never talked about the weird portal.
Yeah, there's a port. Where is light coming from? Is there a sun down there? But despite all that portal bullshit, like Godzilla just shoots a beam straight to the center of the earth. No portal necessary. Explain.
I can't explain. All I can say is that I hated it. My initial thought was like, okay, there's crisscrossing tunnels that go throughout the earth. It's not literally a hollow earth where there's like a giant empty thing in the center of the earth. It can't be it. That's too stupid. They're going to make it like tunnels, and they'll be like some sort of like bioluminescent plant life that provides light. That's how they're going to do it. No, the earth is literally hollow, and they know that there's supposed to be gravity related to the earth's core. So they just threw in this weird portal thing. But why did that need to be there? Like, if they just tried to make it a little more rational, I would have been fine with so much more.
Also, why was there like a flat plane of where the gravity went the other way? Like, shouldn't it have been like
it was like
it was the middle of a sphere?
It was like there was land here, and there was land here, and then there was like a gravity equalizer that
which I thought was cool. I thought they made that look pretty cool. But yeah,
I liked it. I liked it better in Godzilla King of Monsters, where it was just seemingly like, okay, there's like tunnels that go places so that Godzilla can like swim under Mexico instead of having to go through the Panama Canal and wait in the line.
Yeah, I thought that was cool.
Well, if a boat gets in there, there's who knows how long you'll wait.
I think the reason why they allowed Godzilla to just burrow a hole with his atomic breath was that he would just look real silly falling for a long time, like Kong did. He'd just be like,
yeah, and Kong can climb real fast. It takes him like 10 seconds to go 1,000 miles uphill. Or whatever that was.
He was falling for
a minute.
At least part of it.
Was he? Okay.
Yeah, he like jumped into the hole and fell down and was like using the axe to like slide down. But then maybe at some point he started climbing.
It doesn't make a lot of sense.
Yeah, no, it doesn't.
Like, the more they explain, the worse it gets.
I'm trying to really wrap my head around the portal thing now, where it's like it seems it added nothing. It was just kind of like
they could have just left that effect out.
Yeah, like, they could have just flown out of a cave and been like, "Whoa, it's Hollow Earth, neat."
I really think it was just like, okay, we haven't had anything exciting happen for like 10 minutes in this movie. We need something that they gotta deal with. What if there's a portal? Okay, that'll look good on the trailers. Sure, there's a portal now, and I think that was about all the thought that went into it.
I particularly enjoyed the throne that was there that Kong sat on, and he was like, "You know what? I kind of like it down here."
Molly said, "Is that a throne?" And I was like, "It just looks like a bench." And then like did a wide shot. I was like, "I guess it is a throne." They did their best.
It was like his first ever actual piece of furniture made for someone his size.
Yeah, he's like, "Oh,
yeah." But so rushed, right? So in King of the Monsters, they revealed there was this like previous civilization that like worshipped Godzilla, and he had these like cool kind of like Godzilla statues, or he's like a pharaoh and stuff. It's like Egyptian pharaohs, but with like Godzilla heads, and it looked really neat. And in this one, like, it would have been cool if they had done like a Mines of Moria thing where they're exploring this thing, and there's the throne, and you see these ancient things, and you're trying to figure out like, oh, what happened here? But instead, it's just they get there, there's a thing, and then they're out.
Yeah, they also never explained, like, so Godzilla's like lair or whatever from Godzilla King of Monsters was sort of like Atlantis or something, but clearly there had been people there because there were like human-sized stairs and things.
Yeah, I thought it was like straight up Atlantis.
Were there also people in like the middle of the earth that made like Kong's throne room or whatever? Because there was like the statue and there were like there was a lot of architecture that didn't look like it was made by a gorilla. So
that's what I assumed. There's a statue of King Kong for sure. So yeah, I think it was people. And you know what's so funny is I criticize everything, but this has all happened before, and this will all happen again. In Godzilla versus Megalon, there was an underground civilization called Seatopia, led by Emperor Antonio, who worshipped a monster called Megalon, which you would know if you'd watched my episode on it. I assume none of you watched my video. That's fine. But yeah, so they're just like, they're stealing all the worst parts from Godzilla, and then
well, you say they're stealing all the worst parts, but they didn't literally steal King Antonio.
That's true.
Well, what you don't know is King Antonio is Mark's favorite human character in all of Godzilla.
He was pretty okay. I didn't. He was wearing like a toga, yelling at a giant cockroach.
Okay, so Ben had a good question that I
want to talk about this because this was my immediate thought when the movie ended. I was like, okay. For a while, I was like, why are they even in this? And I thought the same thing. But like, they were there to mess with the Mechagodzilla stuff, but they were also there for comedic relief. Let's be honest.
Yeah, I mean, I did not dislike Julian or Brian Tyree Howard. Or Brian Tyree Henry. I thought that Bernie was fun, but they basically put the whiskey on the computer. And that severed the link to the satellite that apparently Ghidorah Mechagodzilla still had. But why was that important?
Okay, again, I didn't quite get it. So it seemed like it didn't necessarily.
I would like to ask real quick, what did you have to drink while you were watching this?
Oh, Mike's Hard Lemonade. Oh, and rum and Coke and White Claw. And that's
honestly for you, I'm like, okay, so you were trashed.
I was okay. It had been a long day.
Did you watch this alone?
No, I watched it with my roommate and my roommate's sister, aka my assistant.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, who was forced to watch it.
Because I just imagine you yelling almost the entire length of the movie about stuff. Did they?
Yeah, the rule was no one was allowed to talk unless it was really important or if it was me doing the one talking. So it was a lot of, oh my God, that's amazing. Shut up, Julia. So, yeah.
Okay,
but back to you answering that question.
Yeah, so, okay, I thought the satellite was necessary to connect Serizawa to Mechagodzilla, but then the link got severed before they threw the whiskey in the thing. So I guess my assumption was the whiskey just kind of like slightly messed up Mechagodzilla's programming for just the critical moment, allowing
which
they transpire.
Really just got lucky with because they had no idea what was happening at the time.
Yeah, I guess. But again, like the tone of this franchise is so just like all over the place. I kept thinking whenever they're like sneaking around doing their like Stranger Things, infiltrating the base stuff, I just think back to Bryan Cranston in the first movie, like pouring his heart out. You won't tell me what happened to my wife. What killed her? And he's like having a legitimate like emotional crisis over this. And now it's just like, oh, let's sneak to the base. Oh, comedic relief time. The whiplash is going on here. Emotional whiplash. Bryan Cranston would be so pissed off if he could see how easy it is to find all the answers he desperately sought and ruined his life over previously.
Also, I'm glad that the human trials of the massive underground tube network when they went on the weird train went well and they didn't all get like killed.
Yeah,
they were
just we need them to get to Hong Kong really quick. So we'll just have a tube there for some reason.
They were all just chilling like on their phones like, well, I guess we're stuck here. I thought that they were going to be like slammed against the wall or something like nah.
Yeah. I do have one other thing. I don't know why I said that. I have many things I'd like to bring up.
Oh, but this is a great question. Mark, tap or no tap?
Yeah, I thought he was talking about like his debit card at first or whatever. And that exchange I hated so much because like Millie Bobby Brown's like, no tap. And then she's playing it up too much. where any adult would be like, okay, just settle down, kid.
Yeah, you're just saying what I want to hear.
Yeah.
I hard agree. No tap. Yeah, Alex, you know my feelings on tap water, especially when we travel. No.
Yeah, but but it's probably because you think that it's gonna like mess up your digestive system, not let the government control you.
I mean,
what's the difference?
Presumably,
water.
The government gave me diarrhea
for the last time.
No, that's from the apple with all the GMOs.
I only drink Coca-Cola and Mike's Hard Lemonade. If you're drinking water, they put that stuff in toilets. So is that really what we want? Like, you want to drink that?
I can't argue against
water,
that.
like out of the toilet.
Exactly.
No, thank you.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and another problem with that whole character is like it was in a movie like this. It's hard to know like when he's being comedically paranoid and like full of conspiracy theories, and when he's like onto something. Because he goes from like, yeah, the government's controlling our brains with whatever. Also, there's a hollow Earth, and that part's real, but that first part wasn't. And I don't know, it just didn't work for me.
I can see that. Like, he made me laugh, but yeah, he was kind of all over the place. Where sometimes, I guess, really, it was just that one time where he was using it to be savvy and annoy that dude and get the files he wanted. But then he kept doing it, and it's like, okay, no, that's just.
I'm trying to think. The files that he got, did they ever actually matter?
Oh, yeah.
I guess it led them to investigate, and they knew they were going to Hong Kong.
Yeah, the files told him that they were going to be transporting a bunch of stuff to Hong Kong.
Right.
So
that's kind of it.
Yeah.
There was something I noticed, and I'm not sure if it was because of COVID or because of like they realized this in post, but a lot of the context and explanation for what was going on was clearly added afterwards. Because whenever like someone is explaining what's happening, it always like cuts to a reaction, and you can tell it's been like 80 yard in. Where there's so many lines like, "Oh, his axe is being charged from radiation in the Earth's crust," or "Follow me, I know the way. All these facilities are built to the same design," and it's like they just added that. Why are we looking at the other characters when he's saying this? And there's so many lines like that.
Also, isn't that an homage to the?
I don't think that's a COVID thing.
Isn't that an homage to the originals, where you basically had sports announcers talking about what was happening?
There you go.
Kind of. No, I thought maybe like because of COVID, the production was rushed, and they got to like post production. They were like, "Oh, we forgot to explain everything. I mean, we'll just record some audio now."
That's probably just a movie thing where they put it together and they were like, "Well, this is a bit of a mess. Let's just throw some lines in."
Okay, I was trying to give it the benefit of the doubt, but fair enough.
The files told them about Hong Kong, but then they went to Hong Kong on accident, basically.
Well, the files told them about Sector 33 or whatever, sub-level 33.
So
they knew they needed to get there.
Yeah,
I think.
I did like.
Also, I really didn't like when he had his meeting with like when they went to the restaurant or whatever, and then he like pulled out the memory card and he was like, "I have this," and they both looked at it like, "Oh wow!" It's like, it's a flash drive. Like,
what's on that?
It's like you can't see what's on it just by looking at
it. So Apex in this movie was again.
Is Apex new?
I mean, there's been 1,000 Apexes by 1,000 different names, so the concept isn't new, but this organization is
cool.
But they were all over the place. Like, I feel like if this was a smarter movie, they would have been like noble in their failures. Like they're trying to do the right thing. Their CEO is not a megalomaniac. Like they're actually like trying to do good for the world, and that's why Sarah was always there. And this one, they're like cartoonishly evil. And I also don't understand. Did I miss something here? Because evil Apex lady is like, yeah, we're gonna go to the Hollow Earth and we're gonna find the power source and we'll use it to kill Godzilla. I think they said that, didn't they? And then they go to the Hollow Earth and they find the power source, and then they turn on everybody.
I don't think they openly said that.
But didn't they? Well, then why were they there to begin with?
They didn't say that to like Nathan or Rebecca Hall or the little girl.
Okay.
That was kind of a private conversation. I think.
I'm also very confused as to what they meant by finding the power source, because all they did was examine it. They were like, this is what it looks like. And then they basically radioed back to base. They were like, this is what it looks like. And they were like, yes, tap some buttons on the computer. And then
we've recreated it.
Yeah. Again, this movie needs to work fast.
But
So
now that they have that power source and they have access to it, what does that mean for the future of these films?
It doesn't matter. They had all this crazy stuff without it. In the first movie, it's realistic. In the second movie, they got the flying Argo thing. In this one, they got, the heaves, which look like garbage, by the way. I want to get into that later.
Yeah.
What was that power source? Because was that just one of Godzilla's back fins? Or like a Godzilla? Oh, that's a good question for right after this. But what was the power source?
Okay, so Godzilla is supposed to feed off radiation inherent to the Earth's core. It's kind of like a lingering effect of the primeval Earth when there was like radiation all over the place. And I guess we assume that there's some lingering remnant to that at the center of the Hollow Earth. So Godzilla's, or one of Godzilla's ancestors' back things, dorsal plates, is able to absorb that energy, which then lets Apex know, okay, that's the stuff, the blue stuff. And then they analyze it.
But they had like a whole Godzilla worth of dorsal fins because it was all like around the throne.
Yeah, I thought that might have been like Kong art.
Well, but there were a bunch more axes
version of
like
cave
laid in the
paintings.
floor, though.
Yeah. I think. Well, I think that's correct.
Other axes.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was just like some crazy artwork.
You can see the other axes like inlaid in the sitting in their like little spots.
Oh, really? They made art out of the axes. But my question is, were all those dorsal plates from other Godzillas? Like, I feel like the trailer said something about how Godzilla and Kong were both the last of their kind. I felt like the trailer hinted at like this ancient war between species, and they didn't really get into that in the film.
They mentioned it. They're like, he's right. Yeah. There was a war, and that was about it.
They did not follow through with that. Yes.
Like I would have liked to have seen like a flashback of a bunch of Kongs fighting a bunch of Godzillas. That would have been nuts.
They could have easily done that.
It should have been a bunch of Kongs versus just the one Godzilla. That would have been rad. It's just
that's still cool. Okay, let's do two then. 2 Godzillas, bunch of Kongs. Because to me, the axes full of the plates makes it seem like, okay, they've killed at least one of these things.
Or to be fair, it could be a bunch of Kongs versus one Godzilla and one Mothra.
Why not throw Mothra in there?
And Gigan's also there. Biolante. Megalon. And Zootopia is just laughing it up.
Space Godzilla for some reason.
A Destroyer.
So what are the people who in past movies have created Mechagodzilla? What were their goals? What were Mechagodzilla's powers? I think you've said that it can beat Godzilla in the past. Like, how did you feel it was represented in this movie?
I mean, as far as these movies can go, pretty accurate. They've combined a couple different origins for Mechagodzilla. Usually, Mechagodzilla is created by the Japanese government or the United Nations Godzilla Countermeasures Force to stop Godzilla. And then in the original Mechagodzilla, he was evil. He was created by aliens made out of space titanium. So they've kind of like merged that together, where he's like created by people, but he's evil. And his design was kind of, it was fine. On the upper tier of Mechagodzillas, but still not my favorite. The original 1970s is still the absolute best.
How many Mechagodzillas have there been?
Tail.
Oh my god. Okay, so we've had the original Mechagodzilla built by those aliens. We have the same Mechagodzilla, but rebuilt because Godzilla defeated them the first time with a couple new upgrades. So there's the first 2. Then you have Mechagodzilla built by the United Nations Godzilla Countermeasures Force. Then you have the upgraded version, which is Super Mechagodzilla, which they attached Garuda to his back. Then you have Kiryu, which was built on Godzilla's bones. That went bad. Then you have the Mechagodzilla that appeared in Ready Player One, which wasn't based on any previous Mechagodzilla. Then you have Mechagodzilla from the anime show. Then you have Mechagodzilla City, where Mechagodzilla's AI from that same show like created nanobots that were going to take over the world, and they built like a city out of it. And is that all of them? Oh, you also have Cyber Godzilla from the American cartoon that Ashton likes so much. I don't know if that's technically a Mechagodzilla, but I'm willing to throw it in there for the purposes of this.
Did they ever make any other mechanical? Like, did they make like Mechagodzilla? Or
yes, they did. Mechagodzilla in the 90s was built out of the remains of Mecha King Ghidorah. Yeah.
But
there's also
did they-
Magera. Sorry.
But did they ever make a Mechagodzilla, like a metal 3-headed creature, or any other Titan? Is Mechagodzilla the only one?
No, so there's Mecha Kong also exists.
I was gonna ask if Mecha Kong was a thing.
Yeah, they built Mecha Kong so we could mine like crystals out of the Arctic or something, and then it kept breaking, so they just kidnapped the real Kong and tried to train him to mine. It was weird.
Not even to fight, just like to do manual labor. Okay.
And I did think they ended up fighting in there. But King Ghidorah was formed in the 90s when 3 Dorats, aka adorable pets, were sent back in time, exposed to radioactive energy. They merged to form King Ghidorah, who's then defeated by Godzilla. So then, in the future, the Futurins use cybernetic future technology to augment King Ghidorah into Mecha King Ghidorah. Mecha King Ghidorah goes back in time, stops Godzilla, but is destroyed in the attempt, and then the Japanese government takes Mecha King Ghidorah and uses that technology to create Mechagodzilla. That's about as clear as I can make it in the time I have available.
I did think it was interesting that you did correctly predict that Kong would jam his axe in Godzilla's mouth.
I cheered when that happened.
Yeah, that was great.
The butt end of it. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
as if it were a tree, for example.
GIF from that first movie where Kong is ramming the tree down Godzilla's throat. That was cool.
I did love that.
I was very happy when they did that.
I brought up. I know this is just like a reoccurring thing, and it's never going to change probably. Except, I guess Tokyo had those what they called Titan bunkers that everybody was not going into because they were still running around in the streets. But like, after how many attacks in Tokyo? Like, how many would it take for people to just abandon Tokyo and move somewhere else? Like, this is not.
This was Hong Kong.
Okay, well, Hong Kong, same thing. Like, how many attacks by these Titans does it take for people to be like, we probably shouldn't live here if this keeps happening?
But I mean, like, where are you gonna go, right? Like, Boston got hit the last time. Then it was San Francisco, Hawaii, Janjira in Japan. Like, I don't know. You have hurricanes and tornadoes and stuff, and people don't just all clear out of their path.
Maybe stop building up. Maybe we need to build down.
Closer to the hollow earth, Alex. That's what you want?
I think so. I think that's safer than like just building a teetering building that some ape is going to push over like it's nothing.
Yeah. The closer
it's only a matter of time.
Because I mean, like sub-level 33 was fine, even though wherever that eyeball was being stored got completely wrecked.
The city did get wrecked, I just love the constant shots of people just running around aimlessly in the streets. Like, oh my god!
Can I throw out a dark theory?
You can do whatever you want.
Okay, I heard that this movie opened up very well in China, and I suspect that part of that might be, and again, this is just my opinion, but I'm sure Alex thinks the exact same thing, that maybe this was like kind of a schadenfreude situation against Hong Kong, because mainland China is not a big fan of Hong Kong, and then the middle of those like protests. So I kind of wonder if the folks at Legendary are like, hey, let's appeal to communist China by just fucking up Hong Kong a lot and putting it on screen. That's my theory. I don't agree with it, but I think that's what maybe.
I also think that's nothing to agree with, but I kind of can see it.
It's awful. I hope that's not true, but it's like, how can we appeal to the Chinese
Hollywood
market?
Always wants the Chinese market.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, let's have those like democratic protesters get killed by King Kong and Godzilla.
Well, they didn't show that.
I am curious, why did Hong Kong look like it was from like Tron?
I just thought it looked awesome. I was like, this is a great place to have a monster
What year
fight.
is this in?
They were copying Pacific Rim hard on this movie.
Also, something struck me between after last week's episode, but before this movie came out, I watched King of the Monsters and Skull Island again, and it kind of surprised me that like they're like, oh, King Ghidorah is from space, which means aliens exist, but nobody cares. Like,
we've got enough to deal with on this planet,
I guess.
We got to figure out Hollow Earth first. and take care of that.
We need to figure out Hollow Earth every few years. Someone needs to posit that it exists, be ridiculed, and then be proved right.
Yeah,
they
I can't
also
wait
have been,
until the
like,
next
making-
movie where they'd rediscover it, and I was
Yeah.
right, and the people are like, "We've been here."
They've been making like tons of discoveries. They're like, "Oh, Atlantis is a thing," and then we blew it up with a bomb.
Yeah, I
And
wish
aliens
the
exist.
I wish
Who
the
cares
series
anymore?
had started like that. When I saw the original Godzilla, part of the new series launching the MonsterVerse, whatever they call it, I was like, "Oh, this is great," but it could have been maybe a bit more out there, so like a bit closer to Pacific Rim, so you could reasonably bring in elements like King Ghidorah and Mechagodzilla and not have it feel completely out of place. But now they've done that, and it feels completely out of place. At least going by that first movie.
I have a question. Where did Bernie and the kids, where did they start off at? Like, where was that location compared to the like underground monorail that took them to Hong Kong?
Pensacola, Florida
Yeah,
was where the Apex lab was. I don't know where they were prior to that because they were in like the suburbs, right?
well, they went.
I'm just
Hong Kong
impressed
from
at
Pensacola.
I'm just impressed at that technology, and like we should explore that more. I feel like those underground monorails.
Were they
Let's make
using
that
the
happen.
Hollow Earth?
That would have made a lot of sense, but I don't think so. I think
They just
they just
tunneled?
built like a giant maglev thing.
They just secretly tunneled. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So the whole thing with Godzilla, who I agree was not in this movie enough. Godzilla was basically upset that Apex was building Mechagodzilla, could sense it or whatever,
Mhm.
and I guess was like, okay, this is going to upset the balance of nature, and I have to destroy it.
I feel like he was sensing Ghidorah's presence.
Ah,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wait.
that's what I think.
in Pensacola,
Don't think about it.
I guess they could have shipped the skull to Hong Kong
Or his like
after the attack.
biocircuitry was being transmitted,
Hmm.
and that's what did it.
At
Okay.
the least, his eyeball was there.
Mhm. Wait, that wasn't King Ghidorah's eyeball, was it? I thought that
No,
was just like
Mechagodzilla's eyeball. Was
Oh.
Oh,
there.
I thought that was the beam maker. Was that
Oh.
its eyeball? I don't.
Maybe that's what
remember.
it was. They kind of look the same.
Yeah,
Oh, I should say that when the two beams lock and there's the beam battle,
sure.
That-
like you
that,
have to have.
that happened in the original Godzilla versus. No, I'm sorry, that happened in Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla 2 from the 90s. That's the first time that happened in a Godzilla film, to my knowledge. So that was a cool throwback.
Who won in the 90s?
It was kind of a tie, but Godzilla got messed up more than Mechagodzilla. But then later, Godzilla like got powered up thanks to Rodan's sacrifice and overpowered it again. So he came and he won the second time.
I like the way you casually threw out Rodan's sacrifice.
Technically, it was Fire Rodan's sacrifice because Mechagodzilla killed Fire Rodan. Rodan flew over to Godzilla's dying body, turned to radiation, which then empowered Godzilla.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
You know what would have really just made this movie perfection is a cameo of Matthew Broderick's character.
What if that were? There was no
would've just-
post-credit scene, but if Matthew Broderick had walked into Monarch in the post-credit scene, I think I might have died laughing,
That's
just wondering
game
what it
over.
would have done to Mark.
Just carrying some fish, being like, "Hey, you guys need tuna." That's my Matthew Broderick impression, by the way.
You know what would
It's
have
like
been a
he's
cool
here.
thing if they had done was, so most of those ships that were in the scene with Kong and Godzilla in like while they were going to the Antarctic have like nuclear powered engines in them.
Mhm.
That could have been a thing with like Godzilla's whole like radiation deal. Maybe if he like ate one of the engines, he could have gotten more powerful or something.
Yeah, previously he had a big thing for submarines.
Yeah.
You reminded me of just like mentioning other boats. When Godzilla is approaching Hong Kong, there's like a tiny little sailboat that gets messed
Yeah.
up, and I just felt so bad for those people.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
They didn't
Chinese
have any
junker.
idea what was about to happen to them.
Yeah.
They thought they were gonna have a normal day.
Yeah.
Sean Sully was saying justice for Godzilla 98. I don't know if you know this. Godzilla 98 shows up in some of the Toho movies. I think just the one actually. But they
It's
reference him a
specifically
bunch.
just so that Godzilla can beat the fake Godzilla, right?
Yeah, I think in the first movie they made after the 98 one, this Japanese official is like, "Yes, the Americans say that a Godzilla showed up in New York, but we don't think it was him." And then in Godzilla Final Wars, the actual Zilla from the 98 movie shows up, fights Godzilla for about 10 seconds, gets vaporized. And then the alien commander is like, I knew that tuna fish eating loser was useless. And it's like the best scene. It's so good.
That's really funny.
Yeah. Oh,
Also,
Sean's right. They
Sorry. I was just going to say, they never addressed from Godzilla King of Monsters that they destroyed like an entire gigantic ecosystem with the oxygen destroyer, even though it didn't really do much. Like, it killed all the fish and probably like coral and stuff. Like, that should have been a big deal.
Then all the Titans going back to where they came from fixed all that, is what I got from the credits.
Although in the opening credits of this one, they hint that Godzilla's killed those other Titans. I'd have to go back and rewatch it, but in the opening credits, like they're doing that kind of like what is it,
the March Madness bracket? Like,
yeah. So Godzilla like killed a bunch of Titans, and I'm wondering if he took out some of those ones from the end of King of the Monsters.
Yeah, where were all the other Titans during all this?
They're just sleeping through this.
I think it implied that Godzilla killed some of them. Also, like that bracket. I mean, Godzilla is doing all the work. He killed King Ghidorah, the Mutos, and Kong like took out those suckers on Skull Island, those little like bat things, the skull crawlers. Yeah. So like, who cares that Kong's getting some victories there?
Oh yeah, because like in the thing at the beginning, it says that like one of Kong's main enemies is giant squid or something.
Yeah.
It's like
just
he
giant
rival.
Yeah.
But yeah, their weights in the intro is like Godzilla is 164,000 tons, and Kong is 158 tons.
Miss some zeros.
That makes him spry, much like how we see Yoda fight in the prequels. He can just like bounce around, and he's way more spry.
He's spry, and he's smarter.
Yeah, that they actually brought that in a meaningful way, where like he does the diversion. That was pretty cool.
Yeah,
he tosses the crane, and then Godzilla looks, and then Kong just like annihilates his face into that building. That was that whole fight was amazing. By the way, like there's been a few movies where I can't believe like what I'm seeing, and this is why this movie ultimately is what I enjoyed. When they first announced Godzilla versus Kong, like back in 2016, I think I was like, yeah, I'll believe it when I see it. Because I'd been hurt before, but seeing it was pretty amazing.
Yeah, the fight scenes were really cool.
Yeah. What was your favorite part of the movie, Mark?
Oh man, when Godzilla, like anytime Godzilla beat Kong, but I think that final beatdown where Kong is just done and his shoulders dislocated, I was so on Team Godzilla then. I hate that monkey
like, stepping on him. Oh
yeah. Because in the Godzilla versus Kong 1960 whatever version, Kong wins, kinda. So this injustice has been hanging over the world for, what's that, like 120 years now. And now we finally have the chance to right that wrong, and they did it. So I really
But they're buddies now.
Yeah.
Are you unhappy
that Kong had to like clean up Godzilla's mess and kill Mechagodzilla?
Well, technically they both did it, because it was the supercharged axe that did it. Without that, Kong would have been done. That was so cool, man. Like, it's stupid and I hate it, but goddamn, that was cool.
The supercharged axe.
I hate it, but goddamn.
Yeah, I couldn't like
that's a quote for the 4K release.
Yeah.
Like, slap that on the front. It's stupid and I hate it, but goddamn it, was it cool? Yeah.
Oh man. So going forward, where do we go from here as far as Godzilla movies?
Anywhere. It doesn't matter. It like previous movies do not affect the next one, is the thing I've learned from this whole franchise. So they can do whatever. Take them to space. It'll fit now.
Ultraman.
No. My dream scenario is they bring in more monsters. I think I said this last time. They bring in more Toho monsters. Because these new ones are fine, but they're no Toho original.
I do agree that new monsters I think are needed now.
Yeah, I mean,
because we saw how bad Mechagodzilla got beat, and he had like a very brief moment where people were like, "Oh no!" and then no contest.
Pitch the sequel to this movie and try to check off all of the boxes on your list.
Oh man, I mean, I'd have to like retcon everything. So it's like, okay,
well,
the Hollow Earth is those tunnels. It's not the center of the Earth. That whole warp drive, that was a hallucination. No, that didn't happen. No,
I mean, you don't have to reference it again. They didn't reference it a second time in the movie itself.
I think just something to do with the Hollow Earth, and they're finding different ecosystems within the Hollow Earth. Like there's this weird like jungle part, and there's like all these carnivorous plants, and at the center of it, you got Biollante, which is my favorite Godzilla monster. That living plant thing with like the rose for the head. It's so crazy and it's so cool. And then I think it'd be cool to just like explore the Hollow Earth, check out these different environments. Like there could be like the desert dunes, and then you have like the giant spider there. I forget his name. It starts with a K. Kamirka or something. Kamyunkus. I don't know. So have it be like the 1970s era Monster Island where there's different kaiju living down there. I think that'd be cool.
Okay.
Oh, and maybe the Oxygen Destroyer from King of the Monsters creates Destroya, because that's how it happened originally.
All right.
Yeah.
And how many of the boxes on your checklist did this movie check off?
Oh, wow. I mean, the problem with the boxes is it's easier to know when they've gotten it wrong. Godzilla's fire looked really cool. That was like a box that the first movie missed, where his like fire looked kind of wispy, and they just keep amping it up every time. And now he's like blasting to the center of the earth. Yeah, I buy that. That's awesome. Yes, you there?
You yelled at me last time I said fire came out of his mouth.
Okay, when I say it, it's proper and correct because you can tell that I know what I'm talking about. When you say it, who knows?
I'm just saying.
No, it's double standards.
Continue.
Wow.
Okay, I mean, it's a bit of a mouthful to say, you know, when his atomic energy beam ray is going to the center.
Well, would you like to say it correctly or not at all, Mark?
I'm happy to take like, you know, the next 3 hours to talk about everything properly, but I thought we might want to speed things up here, so I just say I'll say atomic fire. Is that, or is atomic ray? I liked his atomic ray. That checked off the box. I liked that there was a lot of military action, at least during that naval fight. I always like that stuff. Mechagodzilla was
kind of incorrect.
For
its time.
I guess. I mean, every Godzilla movie gets it all wrong, but that's fine. Yeah, I mean, the monster fights were something else. The kaiju fights in the Japanese movies, they never quite work because it's just two guys in a rubber suit, and they can't do that much or else they're going to hurt the rubber suits and maybe the actors. Who knows? So
I don't think that was really their priority.
Yeah, no. To actually like see Godzilla get his like face slammed into a skyscraper, that's pretty great. So the monster fights are like the best they've ever been. That's a lot of fun. I think those are the big ones that they got right.
Okay. Well, I don't have any more questions. If anyone else does, that's great. But I want you to go ahead and send me that Halloween picture.
I got more complaints. I got to complain more.
Oh, do you want to do that? Okay.
Yeah. I think.
Well, I just want to tease that Mark has his Halloween picture of him dressed as Godzilla as a child.
Yeah. I got to set that up a lot. Anyways, yeah. I thought this movie was kind of ugly. So the Hollow Earth, that blue stuff, it looked gross. Like it looked like the color correction went bad.
Yeah, I agree. Yes.
And then some parts of Hong Kong, like there's no just like natural lighting. It's all either like green or red, and it was too much. Same with every single interior scene in Apex. Whenever Millie Bobby Brown and people are like wandering around, it reminded me of like the 90s Batman like Forever or whatever, where it's like smoke machines and random lights everywhere.
Yeah, there's a lot of neon lights in this film.
It's definitely a strange workplace for sure.
Yeah, like the art direction I thought was actually really bad on all the interior stuff. And the design of the heaves I thought was just like painfully generic.
Yes. Yes.
Like
that Godzilla versus Kong is going to become a new theme on OBS or whatever.
Yeah.
But in the Japanese movies, he had all these like really cool kind of iconic designs. And this one, it's like generic sci-fi spaceship number 17.
Yeah, it gave me Tron vibes a lot of times.
Yeah, I mean, it was crazy. It was
just didn't
way
look
too much.
That functional.
No, it was like, a glowing tube connects the brain energy to that guy. Sure, that makes sense, but it doesn't. There's this point that I've had in my brain stuck for a while, and whenever you're trying to do like sci-fi, like military industrial thing, the lazy direction to take is to put diagonal black and yellow hazard lines. You know those things?
Yeah.
Yeah, like they're from the real world. Like you see them.
Yeah.
But in this sort of context, it's used incorrectly because they're everywhere. And if you're designing this facility or spaceship or whatever, and it's like that dangerous all over the place, you've designed like a really crappy spaceship. And I just noticed in this film,
nowhere is safe.
Yeah, like everywhere is apparently a hazard area because someone wasn't doing their job. So that stuck out to me. It was just kind of lazy that way.
But we know from this movie that a very, very new technology that hasn't been studied well enough is still going to get used no matter what.
Yeah, that's actually kind of a theme in Godzilla movies. All right, so shall I got many Godzilla stories.
Oh, I know you do.
Can I start with the most recent one? Because I had a really good weekend and Godzilla was involved.
Okay.
And this is like subtly me bragging. That's not even that subtle. This is just me bragging because I had a really cool time. And I think I've already told you fine folks about this. So this is more for chat. So I was on vacation this weekend and I went to Banff, which isn't just like a weird sounding noise. It's the name of a national park. And there's this hotel there and it's a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Very, very fancy hotel. And there is the Royal Suite there. It's at the very top. It's like this giant penthouse cottage thing. The Queen stayed there. Nicolas Cage stayed there. Scarlett Johansson stayed there. Everyone stayed there who's famous. And thanks to like COVID and booking it on a Tuesday, I was able to get in. And I smuggled in, among many other things, my own TV and a copy of Godzilla 1985. And I set up the TV in the bathroom. And there was not a lot of plugins because this hotel was built in like, the 1400s or something. So I just had a bunch of extension cables that we'd bought the previous day at some mall going through like sopping water and wet towels. I could have electrocuted myself, but I got to watch Godzilla in 1985 in the same bathtub that I assume Scarlett Johansson used at some point, and Nicolas Cage and the Queen. So I think that's pretty cool.
Why did you choose the 95 Godzilla?
85. Did I say 95? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Because that was the first one I saw. That was the one that got me into it.
Okay.
I feel like you should have watched whichever one had Ghidorah shooting lightning everywhere the most, because that could have become a reality at any moment.
I need to know more about the TV. You smuggled in a TV.
Yes. I have this like small 30-inch TV, and it's small enough that I can fit it in my suitcase if I wrap a blanket around it to like kind of hide it. Because I gotta feel like no matter how fancy,
hide it.
Well, with the hotel, people be like, "Hey, you can't bring in your own TV." You have to
but it's in a suitcase already.
Well, I guess, but like they could have seen it or something. The point is, I wasn't sure what was allowed in the Royal Suite. There's probably standards that I am not
bring
equipped.
A TV to.
They're gonna look at you weird, but
they'll be like, "All right, weirdo."
I mean, that is what I'm trying to avoid.
I feel like the Queen probably did the same thing. Let's be honest.
Yeah, they're gonna stop the Queen from bringing a TV.
She needed to watch her shows.
What Godzilla movie did she watch?
The one with Jet Jaguar.
We all know which one she prefers.
Yeah. She loves Matthew Broderick. Everyone knows the Queen's a big Matty B fan.
Oh, that can't be true. But anyways, yeah, it was very enjoyable. I had a great time watching Godzilla 1985 in the Royal Suite.
Actually, she definitely watched the Hanna-Barbera cartoon.
No,
that would be her favorite.
She loves Godzuki.
No, that's nonsense. Oh God, that's a reason to get rid of the monarchy right there. Meghan Markle was right.
I won't argue with that, but
all right. So shall I talk about my costume?
Uh-huh.
So after last week, I was looking through my photos and I found a photo of me on vacation in the Atlantic, the Maritimes, whatever. That was awful. But I found this photo. And I have to set this up. It's very important that I set this up because my costume looks nothing like... You're going to
send it to me on Discord, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So I really wanted to dress up as Godzilla for obvious reasons. The problem was there was like no Godzilla costumes that I could afford. And I was adamant that I could not just dress up as a dinosaur and add extra stuff because Godzilla's not a dinosaur. Couldn't do that. Plus, Godzilla is not green. And every vaguely Godzilla-shaped costume was green, and I hated that. That's one of those check boxes.
What color is he?
Charcoal gray.
Okay.
He's green in the cartoon.
Well, yeah, well, that cartoon's full of nonsense. That's not the real Godzilla. Anyhow, so this is one of those things where I knew at the time that the individual pieces I was buying did not look like Godzilla, but I was positive that when I brought them all together, it would become Godzilla somehow. So the first piece I got, the only thing I could find that was charcoal gray was, for the longest time, I thought it was a Darth Vader costume. But in seeing this photo, there's like red bits on the front where I think maybe you were supposed to attach something. I thought it was a Darth Vader costume, but maybe it wasn't. I don't know what it was. So I had like a Darth Vader cape thing, and then I just wore gloves. Yeah, and then so that was the main part with these red things on the front, and then I found this mask at a drugstore that it had hair. I don't know. I don't know what I was thinking. So here is the photo of me in grade 4 dressed up as quote unquote Godzilla.
All right, I'm gonna try to not look at it until it's on.
And there's some other things going on in this photo that I need to address because this is the least Godzilla costume that's ever been attempted.
All right, I still haven't really seen it yet. Here we go.
No.
The far left is you, right?
Yeah.
This picture looks like one of those terrifying pictures of kids in the 1920s with their Halloween costumes.
Yeah. So you'll note that I'm also carrying a scythe. So I knew that Godzilla never used a scythe, but I thought it would be cool if he used one for some reason. And again, I was aware that nothing in here individually looked like Godzilla, but I thought for sure that if I brought it together, then it would just become Godzilla.
You are full of shit and you're lying right now. You are not Godzilla in this picture. And you had no intentions of being Godzilla in this picture.
I tried. I did my best. That's all I can tell you.
I mean, he has teeth. And the mask has teeth.
How old were you?
How old is anybody in grade 4?
9.
Sure, that sounds close. 10-ish.
I just thought if I avoided the things about Godzilla I didn't like, aka green dinosaur, then anything else would be closer to Godzilla than a dinosaur costume. Because the first time I tried this was preschool, and I just had like a T-Rex costume where like it was like a hoodie and your face was inside the mouth. Mm-hmm. And people kept calling me a dinosaur, and it infuriated me. I was so angry.
Oh, but okay. And who are
the
the
alien scares me. That looks like an alien preacher, and I don't. It makes me very uncomfortable.
I have to know who these other people are and what they thought you were, what they thought of you. How do you know these people?
I met them at school, Alex.
Okay.
I mean, I
didn't know if they were.
I haven't talked to them
friends
in 20 years. No, this was at school. I should point out. So the first blur on the right is. I mean, I think it might be my buddy Fraser, who I still kind of talk to every now and then. The two girls, I couldn't tell you. I think I know who one of them might be, but I'm not sure if she'd appreciate having her name revealed on stream. So
no, I just more wanted to know what you.
Oh, okay. I thought you were like you wanted.
No, yeah, give me names and addresses and phone numbers.
That's what it seemed like. No, people I went to school with, grade 4. And I do remember feeling kind of stupid after this one too, because everyone just thought I was like a monster, and I kind of realized it didn't work because there was a parade around the neighborhood that we had to do. And I remember by the parade, I had stopped correcting people.
Yeah. The
Did
red
you have
squares
were... I had, I don't know if you can tell, the Darth Vader costume was kind of tied in the back. There was like a belt kind of loop thing. And I think I had tied it to kind of look like a tail. It was a low effort attempt, but I felt like I was doing a good job.
I mean, I would consider this high effort for the age at which you were when you attempted this.
Thank you.
I would too.
Yeah.
So what did the sock hop girls think when you showed up?
It's been a while. I couldn't tell you.
Okay.
I know that I also mutilated that mask. I think I tried to cut the hair. I think it might have been originally longer. I think I did try to get rid of the hair. I think I thought if I got rid of it, that it would be more like
what drugstore sells masks like that?
I don't know. I wouldn't. That drugstore was by my house. I must have gone into that 1,000 times. I only saw it carry masks once, and that was the only mask they had.
So when you say you stopped correcting people, do you remember what people were guessing you were?
Oh, you're a monster. And I was like, no, I'm Godzilla. And they'd be like, oh, and then. Like it happens so often, I started feeling maybe I didn't pull it off quite as much as I thought I had.
Yeah,
and the scythe was not helping. I don't. I realize in retrospect, none of this makes any sense. All I can say is that at the time, I was positive I had nailed it. When I went to school, I remember people thinking that, like, I remember thinking that people would really get it and be in awe of it. And this photo's brought back a lot of bad memories, so thank you.
Can we start a GoFundMe to produce an actual proper Godzilla costume for Mark?
We don't even have to do that. We're if DragonCon happens this year, if it happens next year, whatever, the next time we're at a convention with Mark, I absolutely want to do the, like, he's in the big inflatable Godzilla thing, and the rest of it we're just buildings.
Yeah, we should be buildings that he can wreck.
And that
is the perfect, like, photo op for any other cosplayer. Because anyone can just be like, oh, I'm a giant version of whatever I am fighting Godzilla in a city. Like,
yeah,
people would lose their minds for that. And we'd be making Mark happy.
Have you seen that video of, like, the dog and, like, the guy dresses up as the dog's favorite toy and the dog freaks out?
Yeah, the Gumby. Yeah.
Yeah, I would be the dog in that. And I would, I don't know what that would look like. And I'm scared.
Well, we're doing it.
It would be the first ever footage of a happy Godzilla.
Maybe a happy Mark too.
Yeah, the idea makes me uncomfortable, and I don't know why.
Is it the idea of getting attention?
Probably, and also, like,
but you'd be behind a mask.
Like, I'm no Godzilla. Who am I to to dress up as him?
The first imposter syndrome the whole time.
Yeah. So, yeah.
I'm out of questions, and that feels like a great way to end the show. But if anyone else has questions, I'm willing to keep talking.
Can I ask a question?
I need to just watch some of the other movies, and then I'm sure I'll have more questions. But
I'll prepare a list. I'd be happy to prepare a list of movies you should watch in the Godzilla franchise.
All right.
I would be down to do another episode of this if you gave us, like, homework.
Really?
And whenever we finish the homework.
You're serious? You'd be up for another episode of this?
Yeah, this is our second one, and I've cried laughing both times. So,
but you should know better.
I like you, Mark.
Oh my
Apparently
god,
we don't.
I mean, I don't want to argue myself out of this. No, this is my dream. So yeah, if you're up for it, I'll let's do all 36.
Okay, like,
okay, sounds great. You said yeah.
Can we do one where Mark has to watch the 90s Godzilla and then we can ask him questions about that afterwards?
Oh, well, it has to be.
I mean, that would just, if we were to do all 36 or 37, if he left that one off, then, like, we would hit that at some point. And that would be our longest episode.
I want to talk about that movie specifically and have Mark do, like, make a list of 10 things that he does like from that movie.
Molly, I think you're onto something. I think that we will agree to, maybe we'll discuss it. We'll agree to do more actual Godzilla episodes if Mark agrees to do one on the 98 Godzilla.
Okay, I guess. I mean, what questions are you going to have about the 98 Godzilla? Like, why is this so bad? Because I know that already.
Maybe. I haven't seen it since probably 98 or 99.
The challenge that we will pose to you is that you have to pick 10 things that you like about it.
Okay, I guess. You know what's crazy about that movie? That wasn't the first attempt to make an American Godzilla movie. There was another script that was out there for a while called, like, Godzilla versus Griffin, where Godzilla fought a griffin. And I downloaded that script because it's available online. And I printed it out and I put it in a binder. And I took it on a road trip. My family was driving to Spokane or something for some reason. And I insisted on reading the entire script. And I threw up on the script because I got sick. So to this day, I still don't know how it ends.
Every one of your Godzilla stories ends in tragedy.
Yeah. And I do remember in that script, that there was a scene in the script where they transport Godzilla by helicopter, and I remember even back then thinking that was stupid. So that thing's been around for a while.
Now we have to find that and do a whole episode so that Mark can. Know what happens.
Dramatic reenactment. We can do basically what the Banthaverse is doing. We'll just do a live reading of it. We'll cast characters. We will live out.
Mark obviously
Mark's
is
dream.
Godzilla,
and yeah,
but I don't think that would work because it's probably not that great of a movie, and it's, like, very serious. Do you really want to perform? Oh, hey, did I ever tell you my first time on the internet?
No.
Okay, when I was in grade
This was obviously
grade
before
4?
you were known as Godzilla_neat.
Correct.
Okay.
We got America Online. You know, the "you've got mail" kind of thing.
You didn't have
And-
Canada online? That's a serious question.
How did Canada feel about America Online?
Have you heard of North America? We're all Americans. You just stole
Okay.
it for yourselves.
That's fair.
And I hate having to like talk to people about that. I always say, "Oh, as an American," and then someone always says, "Oh, you're Canadian, Mark," and I got to bring out the whole North America thing. You know, what other country has ever done that? What country in Europe calls itself Europe? Okay. I don't know why I sent that to you. Okay, what was my point again?
You just got the internet.
My first time online. Can you guess what the very first thing I looked up was?
Godzilla. What web crawler Godzilla?
I went to the kid zone inside AOL. Remember there was like those big buttons? It was like tech.
I never had AOL.
Oh, really? Oh, man. Yeah, there was like a kid zone. And I looked up Godzilla, and there was 2 websites that were featuring Godzilla. And one of them had a photo of Godzilla and Homer Simpson.
Okay.
And something about that really broke me for a while. I couldn't understand what it meant. Like, I didn't know that Photoshop was a thing, and I was very bothered by the concept that Homer Simpson was appearing in the same thing as Godzilla. They were too different. I didn't like it. The other website was Barry's Temple of Godzilla. And anybody who was on the internet back in the 90s and looking up Godzilla all the time will know Barry's Temple of Godzilla. It might even still be around. But it was the coolest thing because there was a map of Monster Island, and you could click on the different sections, and like each section was like a different thing. So then I decided I was going to build my own website to be even better than Barry's Temple of Godzilla.
Oh my god, it still exists. I'm on it right now.
Oh my god, really?
Yep.
Can you put it on the view screen?
Yeah, I should be able to. Hold on.
Just Google Barry's Temple of Godzilla, and it's the first thing that pops up. Although,
wow,
man, this is like
a time capsule website.
Oh no.
This reminds me of the GeoCities website, Sailor Moon website that I made.
It looks like the Space Jam website.
Oh my god! Okay, this is not the original. I remember this. He updated it at some point. So this is the... Yeah, there it is. The United Nations Godzilla... Oh, Control Center. He got that wrong.
Oh,
Oh my god.
the About Me page is adorable. It says sense of humor required.
Remember web links, web rings?
1996.
Oh my.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, this was on one of those Godzilla web rings that I was a big fan. Barry's Temple of Godzilla, so good. He would like Photoshop Godzilla into things. Like, I don't know, this was a big deal for me as a kid because this was the only way I could learn about Space Godzilla, and yet I still seem to know very little about it. So I don't think I was doing a lot of reading. I guess I was just looking at the photos.
This person has a law degree.
In Godzilla law or like regular law?
Regular law. It says
Oh my God.
professionally, I earned a law degree and passed the bar here in Massachusetts back in 1993, but never actually practiced law. Instead, I got interested in designing expert software called practice systems for a variety of clients, including major law firms nationwide. Oh, we have so much research to do now.
I also remember this guy was really upset because Dean Devlin lied to him. Oh, there it is! Dean Devlin's response, I think. Wait. Because Barry got a Godzilla piggy bank design was leaked. And in the 98 Godzilla movie, they were trying to keep the design of Godzilla secret. But he stumbled on some merchandise. And I guess he went up to Dean Devlin and was like, "Is this what Godzilla looks like?" And he was like, "No, that's not what it looks like. What are you, crazy?" And then, of course, it was what it looked like. And Barry was very upset. And I just remember this headline that said, "Dean Devlin lied to me." Oh, there it is! There it is! I can't believe it!
Just for the record.
Oh my god.
He's written 2 full-length cyber novels about Godzilla. Godzilla Attacks and Godzilla Reborn.
for one of these episodes, we just got to get Barry and Mark in the same room, I think.
I would die. He's a hero.
Oh.
He's such an inspiration. No, but I tried to make my own Godzilla website. And what I did was I bought a copy of the Godzilla Encyclopedia. And every time I had a babysitter, this guy named Andre, I would make Andre type it up for me. The whole Godzilla Encyclopedia.
You would make him type the whole thing?
Yeah.
Let's see. He really liked the 2014 Godzilla. He didn't even give the 98 Godzilla, unless this is how many stars he gave it.
No, that was
I doubt it, because he had a whole section titled "The Plot Such as It Is."
I'm astonished he was still around in 2014. That gives me hope.
We got to figure out what he thought of the last two movies.
Yeah.
I'm just taken aback. Yeah.
I had a question to end things, if that's okay.
Okay.
Did I explain anything?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, you clarified questions that I had about like Godzilla lore and whether or not things were new or powers various monsters had.
Because Godzilla is confusing.
I mean, the biggest thing I want you to explain is your fandom and your love.
Yeah, you keep wanting me to justify that. Like I'm not allowed to like
just not a justification. Just like how did you get into it? And you did all that last week.
Oh, okay.
Like I want to know,
But you didn't seem satisfied. You seemed kind of angry about the whole thing, as I remember. You're like, oh, you like Godzilla? Why? And I was like, oh, because it's from my childhood. And it's like, ugh, I was a child and I didn't like Godzilla. I think you're better than me. I get it.
I don't think I said that at all.
That's exactly what you
the
said.
last one where you were just having him explain why he liked Godzilla, and I said it was like having you explain why you like Star Wars.
It was an interrogation. Molly's right. Alex was being a huge jerk through all of that. Thanks for having me. Thanks for having me on the show.
Yeah, let's definitely do more of this.
Wait. I like this question from chat, and I want to hear what Mark says.
Yeah.
Killinstagram asked, "What's your favorite C-list or D-list kaiju?"
Oh boy, how is he ranking them? Because like,
I mean, I think this is inspired by my question that I asked people, like, what's your favorite more minor character in Star Wars? So
yeah,
what's your favorite kaiju that maybe you think is just underappreciated? Maybe a kaiju that you think you might be the biggest fan of.
Oh, I mean, I'm a Godzilla guy through and through, so I don't even have that kind of relationship that you have with Biggs. But I always liked Manda. I thought was pretty cool. He was just like a giant
Manda?
snake. Yeah, Manda, Manda. I'm pretty sure.
I thought there was like a character named Amanda that you really liked.
It's Mark's ex-girlfriend. He's the biggest monster.
No, Manda was cool. I always liked Magera, which I don't know if that counts because that's a B tier, I'd say. But that was a version of Mechagodzilla not called Mechagodzilla. They called it Magera.
Any relation?
Yeah, so the Mandalorian culture was based on Destroy All Monsters. So Star Wars basically just ripped it all off.
Mm-hmm.
Is that the skull from his shoulder pad?
Yeah, that's correct. You should do a show called Lie to Me.
That would be fun.
That should have been the one we did today.
I mean, I wouldn't know.
And if Biolante qualifies as B tier, I'm so attached, I don't even think that's true. But if you think Biolante is on the C or D or whatever tier, then Biolante is so cool.
It seems like you don't enjoy the ones that are like human shaped, like Jaguar and
it always weirded me out. I told you that thing about like the sci-fi encyclopedia. Did I bring that up?
I don't think so.
Oh, okay. My dad bought me the science fiction encyclopedia. It had like every sci-fi movie from 19 whatever to 19 whatever. And the front cover of it was just like a collage of movie posters. But I guess they ran out of movie posters because they repeated themselves halfway through. So like the poster for Godzilla shows up, like 8 times. But then the poster for Attack of the 50-Foot Woman showed up like 6 times. Which I didn't like. And I remember like having to count the number of posters to make sure that Godzilla appeared more times than the 50-Foot Woman, because if it didn't, that would have been bad, I guess. I don't know. I was however old.
Well,
Well,
I think that should wrap up this episode. we've almost wrapped up like 3 times now, but
thank you for listening to me.
I've had so much fun, Mark. I'm serious that let's talk about maybe doing some more.
Okay. I mean, you said it.
I know.
I should have saved my best Godzilla story. I gotta make some new Godzilla memories. I just didn't. I already wasted it. The whole thing is,
you keep every time you're like, oh, I've told the best story, and then you come up with one where you like threw up on a script in the car and still don't know the end of the movie.
Well, that's not really a Godzilla story. That's more of a road trip story.
Whatever you say, Mark. Where can people?
Wait, I got one more. Okay, so I whenever I suspected that Godzilla merchandise or Godzilla related things was to be had, I would beg my mom to drive me to there so I could get it. But I never had any money was the problem. So like I would go to these places and have the Godzilla thing. I couldn't afford it. I'd leave depressed. Except for one time. And I don't know how I thought of this. It's going to make me sound brilliant. But there was an architectural firm in Calgary going out of business. And there was like an auction going on, or they're like selling a bunch of their crap. And some of the crap they were selling was the original architectural models for some of the skyscrapers in Calgary. And I got my mom to take me there, and I bought the original model to this like condo downtown here. And over the next year, I just destroyed it with Godzilla action figures, and it was the best thing I ever bought. And it cost like $5. That's a Godzilla win right there.
I do like that story, Mark.
Yeah. Finally one with a happy ending and no tragedy at the end.
And whenever I drive
up on the building. Okay.
Is this the thing?
Oh yeah, the Godzilla Magic the Gathering cards. Yes, they did special Godzilla art for some Magic the Gathering cards, which I thought was kind of lame. I would have preferred that they make like new cards for Godzilla rather than just like, oh, here's an alternate card of the whatever that's just been renamed Godzilla. So they didn't do anything special for it. But what's interesting is Space Godzilla, his main beam attack was called the Corona beam because coronas are from space. You know, a sun's corona. It made sense. But then can you guess what happened?
They changed the name?
They did, because people found it offensive to shoot a Corona beam at somebody.
Because it came out right at the beginning of the pandemic.
Yeah.
That's fair. All right, Mark, I'm ending this episode. Save some stories for next time. Okay. Where can people find you online?
Oh, I had something for this. Oh, what was it? I was going to say something. What was I going to say? Can you ask someone else first where they are?
Something profound.
Ashton, where can people find you?
I am on Twitch at Yeti Boatman, where I stream on Tuesdays. And also, maybe this is what Mark was trying to remember. Mark and I have a stream that we're going to start doing not this week, but the next week on Wednesday, the 14th, where we're going to start doing a Total War game.
That wasn't it, but I'm super excited about that. We're going to do multiplayer campaign co-op of Warhammer Total War. Because we've been doing one just like single player wise, not streamed. Or not, I guess, non-streamed.
Just for fun.
Yeah. And it's been a good time.
Mm-hmm.
Mark, are you ready now?
I still don't know where they can find me. I guess
Molly.
Look up. Okay.
I'm on Twitter at Molly Damon and on Twitch. My return to Twitch is still pending. And you can find me with Schmodown related things over on A Certain Point of View on YouTube. And once a month, me and Jill have our happy hour with Jill and Molly, which is our next episode is April 10th. And we're going to have Rachel Silverstreeny on. So tune into that for some drunken fun.
Mark?
I guess just go to Templin Institute. That's a really cool website, and all the links are there.
Okay.
Yeah,
and you also have a YouTube channel and stuff.
Well, yeah, it's linked on the website. It's not like the website says there's nothing here. It says there's the YouTube, and here's the Discord, and there's the Twitch. It's all there. It's a cool domain name. Yeah, we got Twitter, Templin EDU. Do you
have any other Twitters?
Yeah, I got one. It's called Godzilla_neat. Nobody follows me. Well, that's fine.
I follow you, and really? Also I went to get Star Wars _neat, and someone in this chat, I assume, already took it. Because the only people they follow are like me, the Templin Institute, and Godzilla _neat. So, fine.
The world makes sense again.
Didn't he He picked
Is in
neat
chat.
because one of them was taken.
Cool was already taken. Yeah.
Godzilla and
So-
Mr. Cool was taken. Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe try cool. I don't know.
And you can find us on Star Wars Explained, and I'll be back here on Monday streaming a new Lego set because I finished the grand piano. But that's it because I have to go. I have to pee so bad. But this was so much
too.
fun. Thank you.
That should be your
Marc,
new
for hanging
sign-off.
out with us. Yeah. I
Thanks
have
for
to
being
pee.
here. I gotta pee.
That's it. That's the truth. I'm not gonna lie.
Yep.
But we gotta go. Oh, let's see if anyone is streaming and we can raid them.
Oh yeah, because we forgot last time.
Oh hell yeah, Blunderdome streaming.
Oh, get everyone to yell something. That's what I always do.
Uh,
Godzilla _ neat.
yeah, just yell Godzilla is neat for Marc.
Mhm.
So we're gonna raid the Blunderdome here. Thank you all so much for watching. And is there a May the Force be with you for Godzilla?
Oh, that's a good question.
So, like, we shouldn't have played God.
I mean, let them fight would be the modern example. I'm trying to think of like a 70s version, but no, not really.
Okay, let them fight.
Yeah.
And we have raided.
Awesome.